Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report. Today, Chris has brought his Tyranid Horde to fight. What, sorry?
And Cult.
And Cult. And Genestealer Cult to face off against the mighty Drukhari. This is an ITC Championship mission. Let's begin.
The Dark Kin.
Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Battle Report. I am Skari and this is...
Chris Rice.
Chris Rice. There's three of them.
There is...
Four of you.
Four of us now, yes. Including two American ones.
In the ITC, and it's very confusing.
It is, yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm Archon Skari, because there's only one Archon Skari.
I'm going to be switching to XR.
Nice, I like it. No confusion in ITC. Okay, guys, we've got a good, fun battle report for you today. We've got Chris's Tyranids and Genestealer Cult versus my Drukhari. You're practicing for a tournament.
At X Planet this
X Planet this weekend. It's 2,000 points. Championship ITC. It's a ranked event. And there's over 20 people attending. It's a 4-round event. So it's a bigger RTT.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's some good competition
There's
showing
good players there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a very cool, like, if you guys take a look at Best Coast Pairings, you can see the sort of players. That's a very clear, concise sort of meta check for, like, the competitive scene near Toronto in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so, you got any plans?
I got to get that 5+ with the Cult coming out. The last time I went there, I got my butt kicked.
It happens.
It was funny. I was playing against, I forget his name. He played you in the last game at the
CCBB?
Yeah.
Tim?
Tim, yes, Tim.
Tim, yeah.
And it was funny because I rolled 3 1s.
Yeah.
And, you know, we laughed at it, but we knew I got the reroll.
Yeah.
And I re-rolled it, and the highest roll was a 2. So we had a good laugh at it, and of course they just came out in the middle of nowhere, and he blew him up.
And they killed him.
But yeah, I got my butt kicked. But I hope that this list is going to be a lot better.
Okay, perfect. So make sure you take a look at the lists. We'll look at the mission, deployment, and let's begin.
Yes.
So have a good game, sir. Enjoy, guys. And here we have 2,000 points of Drukhari. This is my tournament winning list that I've been using and modifying for the better part of a few months. Now, it is pre-FAQ, so I am playing 130 points down, just so I can get used to if the Talos go up in points. I am used to that, so I've lost a few things like transport and a few of the racks. But essentially, the dynamic of the list stays the same. So let's take a look. The list is based around a Coven Prophets of Flesh battalion. So I have a Homunculus with an electrocorrosive whip. I have Uri and Rakarth. A unit of 10 racks with 1 ossifactor. 2 units of 5 racks. The 10-man unit also has a Venom Blade. 6 Grotesques and 2 units of 3 Talos with a Haywire Blaster, Macro Scalpel, and Chain Frills. To support that meaty core, I have Archon Skari himself with his Venom Blade in a Spearhead detachment of 3 Disintegrator Ravagers and 2 Razorwing Jet Fighters with Disintegrators and Twin Splinter Rifles and, of course, the missiles. So there you have it, folks. 2,000 points or so of Drukhari. Leave a comment down below. Do you own the stuff to make this list? What do you think? Doesn't look like much, but on the table, it sure packs a punch. So let's take a look at Chris's Tyranid Horde. And here we have 2,000 points of Tyranids with Genestealer Cult. So Chris, this is of course pre-Genestealer Cult Codex.
Yes.
We'll see what happens after that. But tell me about your list and the concepts behind it.
So we got this Supreme Capan with the 20 Pure Strain Stealers.
Yep.
With 2 Maguses and the Prime.
Yep. Then he gives you the extra dice, and then you use a stratagem for the extra dice.
And he gets to reroll.
And he gets to reroll, so you get 3 dice to see. You're
3
looking
dice
for a 6,
rerolling.
essentially.
A 5 is okay because you get to move D6.
Right.
So 5 will be okay.
But the full
6
move is
ideal.
just much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 2 squads of 30 Gaunts, just Flesh Pores.
Yep.
And then they come with Rippers.
Yep.
And then 2 Neurothropes.
Yep.
The one with the little blue lines will be running the Horror.
Yep.
The one with the little green lines here will be running Psychic Scream.
Yep.
And then we got the Heavy Support detachment with the Warlord. And he's got the Crown and the Warlord trait.
And he's also a Neurothrope too.
He's also a Neurothrope.
Cool.
He's going to be running
I like the conversion.
Catalyst.
It's like an old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool.
And he's going to be running Catalyst, and then anyone within 3 inches of him, ignore cover.
Okay, nice.
And they're all Juramunga, so they're always in cover unless they advance or charge.
And you've got a lot of them, and they all have a heavy venom cannon. And
Heavy Venom Cannon and Death Spitters. As well as Enhanced Senses.
Yeah.
And the Spore Assist with the -1 to hit them.
Okay, perfect. So that's 2,000 points of Tyranids and Genestealer Cult. Let's begin. So during deployment, my biggest strategy was to block out a potential Genestealer Cult Alpha Strike, which meant that I used my tough units to screen out my entire deployment zone and force him to not sacrifice them on the first turn. Okay, folks, we are playing Mission 2 of the ITC Championship mission. What is yours is mine. So we have one objective here in his deployment zone. We're playing Pointy Hammer and Anvil. One in the middle, one in the back here. We've gone back and forth deploying. He's put Cult, Rippers, 3 characters in reserve. He has the 2 large units of Termagants, the 2 broods of Fexes, or 3 broods, 2, 3, 1, 2. The 3 Neurothropes sitting in the middle as well. So he did roll, got the +1. He has a 6. So I have to roll to equal it for a 6. I do. It is a reroll. Oh, he rolls a 7. So what do I roll? I roll another 6, but I can't win. Okay, folks. So he has first turn. The Drukhari will attempt to seize the initiative. Let's see what happens. Drum roll. 1. Maybe in Australia, folks. And with that, the Tyranids take the first turn. Leave your comment down below. What do you think will happen? But Razorwings, Talos, Grotesques, Rax, Talos, Archon, and Urien, Rax down here, Ravagers in the backfield. He has marked my 3 Ravagers for death and the Grotesques. He's taken Big Game Hunter to get points off of my Talos. And he's also taken Recon to get 1 in every table quarter. I have taken Big Game Hunter to try and kill a bunch of these guys. I've also taken Head Hunter and kill a bunch of models.
Kill a bunch of models.
Kill a bunch of models, because you've got a lot of models to kill. So I'll essentially...
More than 80.
There you go. So for every 20 models I kill, I get a point. Yeah! Okay, folks, let's get this party on the road. And the bonus is if you hold us at center and your opponent's objective. So if you hold those 2, that's a bonus point. On to Tyranid. Chris started his turn by moving up towards the middle of the board, keeping his screens around his characters so my planes wouldn't be able to snipe his characters out. And essentially, his target priority was to try and take out those Talos and the Grotesques as soon as possible. They will destroy his army, so he knows that. Luckily, my saves were a little hot, and his wounding rolls weren't so good, so he didn't do as much damage as possible, but his target priority was on point. If anything else, he should have targeted the Grotesques only. Turn 1 has come and gone. He's moved up, essentially spread out a little bit to gain some board control without overextending his line. He put the Rippers back here in his deployment zone to hold his objective. And then all the Carnifexes shot everything they could at the Talos with Venom Cannons and did 3 wounds to 1 Talos because I passed a lot of invols and he failed to wound quite a lot of the time. And then he killed one grotesque as well, with Death, Spit of Fire, and lastly a Heavy Venom that had to shoot at him. So with only hold 1, these have been catalysted. We're moving on to Drukhari turn 1. So let's see if I can, so looking at it, I'm probably going to try and get hold more, and if I kill anything at all, I get kill and kill more, which will give me a good leg up as we begin the game. So moving on to Drukhari turn 1, and let us know down below, what would you do if you had a turn that wasn't the best for you, especially in a competition? How would you react? Let's move on to the next turn. My priority on turn 1 was to continue to zone out that Genestealer cult ambush and start putting pressure on the middle of the board. He hadn't killed anything, so I was able to get kill more and hold more, putting me ahead in the points game, forcing him to start taking risks, to start catching up to me towards the end of the game. But the biggest thing was continuing to zone out the board. Okay, so turn 1, I've moved up and essentially zoned out the board from the Genestealer cults up to like a 9-inch line up here. I've moved up to hold the center, so I get hold more. I killed 1 Carnifex, because those -1s to hit actually do help a lot. And because they're Jormungandr, they're 2-up saves, which means they get a 5-up save from against the Disintegrators, which means that he makes some. So I did kill 1, so I got kill 1, hold 1, kill more, hold more, and I also got 1 Big Game Hunter point for killing a Carnifex. I also shot into the Termagant unit and started trying to whittle them down. So I've killed, I think, 8 of them or something like
11.
that. 11 out of 30?
Yes.
Okay, so 11 out of 30 of them. So now moving on to turn 2, and let's see what the Tyranids and Genestealers do. They have the initiative right now, so they're going to have to make a move in order to turn the game around. Moving on to the next. Because he was zoned out, he did not bring his Genestealer cults in again this turn, and he focused everything he could into the Talos again and the 10-man unit of Rax. He was unable to deal with the Rax. In retrospect, he should have just focused everything he could to kill the Rax to make sure that they could not respawn, because with that strat, they were back. Okay, Tyranid turn 2. So the Tyranids have moved up. And Chris wanted to do 2 things. He wanted to kill the Rax, and he wanted to try and do some damage on the Talos. So he did kill a Talos and put 4 wounds on the other one. And then, no matter what he tried, he only killed 9 out of the Rax. Even charged in. I had to Vec the attack twice, but I have 1 lone Rack remaining left alive. You know what that means. He's coming back with all his buddies. Which is terrible for Chris, because he tried really hard to kill him. I just made a lot of 4-up saves, and that toughness 5 really comes in handy. Other than that, so moving around, he killed another one of the grotesque with some smites. And so he's kind of like moved up this way to put pressure on my objective. He didn't bring any of his cult stuff in. So it's turn 3. So he's going to have to bring him in next turn. So let's see what happens as we move into turn. During this turn, I had the opportunity to really put pressure on the center of the board. So I moved up and continued to zone out the entire half, even more of the table, to force his Genestealer cult way back into his deployment zone, keeping the Talos back as a counter-strike unit. My only mistake this turn was not killing anything at all. Okay, end of round 2. I moved up. I essentially continued the zone because he needs to bring in his Genestealer cult this turn. So he can't bring anything. He has to bring them up like this here now. So he's hoping for something that he can move up with his Steelers with the 3 dice. I focused mostly on the Termagants to clear the screen this turn. There's 3 left in that unit, and I killed quite a few of that unit as well, with pretty much all my Disintegrator firepower in the back. The Rax recycled in the back. They failed to charge against the Ripper Swarms, but now he has to deal with them as well, because if not, they will start threatening his objective. So moving on to turn 3 for the Tyranids, I did get kill more, And I get hold, but not hold more because that one is contested. Well, he has that one. Oh, no, so he holds more.
You didn't kill anything.
Yeah, I didn't kill anything.
Yeah.
So I didn't kill. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So no kill. So he does hold more, though, because he has that objective right there. I did get a Cull the Herd, though, or Reaper, because I've started to kill quite a few of his models.
We can count it up at the end of the game.
Yeah, we'll count it up at the end.
So it's Chris's turn 3. Has to bring in his Genestealer cult. And he brings in his Tyranid Genestealers in the corner where I had respawned my racks. So, with the Genestealers away, he puts pressure on, and in this turn, he does quite a bit of damage, killing Unit of Talos, killing the Grotesques, and almost killing a plane. This really put me on the back foot, and he was starting to push back, and those Carnifexes can definitely shoot.
Okay, so turn 3 for the Tyranids went actually really well. So he's put 9 wounds on that Razorwing. He killed those 2 Talos. He killed the Grotesques, and he sent all his Genestealers to kill the unit of Rack. So he's killed, held, got 2 more Big Game Hunter points, and he got a Recon as well. So this was a big turn for the Tyranids and Genestealer cults. So Chris's Carnifexes hit home, and they got through some of the invulnerable saves. So now, what will the Drukhari do? So moving on to turn 3, there's still half the game to go. Let's see what happens after this.
So it's turn 3, and I'm starting to be on the back foot. I had to get aggressive. So I decided to move up and try and take out all his small infantry units. Gotta get rid of the screens and his objective secured. Because his Genestealer cult are on the board, I don't have to worry about zoning, and I just push forward with characters and Talos to hopefully hit him on the next turn.
Okay, turn 3 for the Drukhari. Moved my Ravagers close here, basically focused everything I could onto this Carnifex, and he survived with 2 wounds. Uri and Rakoth used his casket to kill the 3 little guys here. They moved and advanced up. And then I charged in and killed this unit with the Talos. All other shooting, this Razorwing focused on that Magus and killed him. And that Magus still alive. So essentially I pushed up. He's going to have to deal with my Talos, so the Talos will wreck some stuff over here. And the Genestealers are over there. They almost didn't kill that unit of Rex, which was pretty intense. Right?
Yes.
It was so close.
The exact damage on you.
Yeah, they would have just bounced somewhere else and come and harassed you. Okay, so I got hold more, kill. Nobody killed more because he killed 3, I killed 3. I do have 3 Reaper points so far because I've killed 60 models, well, over 60 models. So I just have to kill some more, and then I get my last Reaper point. And I got a Headhunter point as well. So moving on to turn 4 for the Tyranids.
So, turn 4, he moves his entire unit of Tyranids, Carnifexes, to shoot at the Talos and kills 1 Talos. I vectored the Genestealers getting back into reserve, which means they weren't going to come back into ambush, and he charges into the Talos, only to find out that they're good in combat.
Okay, so Tyranid turn 4. That was 4. So he basically moved up, killed the Razorwing to get his last Big Game Hunter, then fired everything he could at the Talos, and they're really strong. So he killed 1 and took 5 wounds off another. He even charged in a Carnifex, underestimated the close combat capability of the Talos, and they just nuked the Carnifex in combat. He should have charged in 2 or 3 Carnifexes. He did horror this Ravager, however, so that guy's an additional -1 to hit. And the Genestealers, I had to vect them going back into the shadows, essentially. But next turn he's going to be able to do that, and then they'll come in turn 6, because I don't have any more points for vect. So, that'll be risky, especially considering my objective over here, and he could come in and really do some damage. They'll be turn 6. It's
ITC's only turn 5.
No, it's 6 turns.
So last turn, Chris made a big mistake. Unable to put pressure on or capitalize on his fantastic turn 3. This allows me to go in and essentially neuter the Carnifexes for an entire turn on turn 5. This puts Chris once again on the back foot. Now, I did make some mistakes this turn. I moved Urien out of range of the strength bonus from the Talos. I zoned out the Gene Stealers when I didn't need to because they weren't in the strike. So all in all, I don't really know what I was thinking. I was probably playing too quickly.
End of turn 4. So, I moved the Ravagers around. I've essentially pushed out as much as I can, although I didn't really need to. It should have been something I did next turn. That was a mistake. This was a mistake. Keep note. That was a mistake. Then I charged in. I failed to kill the Carnifex in combat with the Talos, because I made another mistake and moved Urien's extra strength out of range of the Talos. And so he's got 2 wounds left, and I charged in a bunch of stuff. So I've locked the Carnifex up. They can't shoot next turn, but he's got some... well, not all of them will. He's got some smites. He can try to get him out of combat. This guy's still good. Urien moved up here. Yeah, I zoned, but I shouldn't have needed to till turn 6, because they wouldn't have come in till turn 6. And then the Razorwing came up here. So I did hold more. I killed one, hold one. And I got another big game hunter, because I killed the Carnifex that had 2 wounds remaining. So, moving on to the next turn.
Another good turn for Chris. He moves up, spreads out, kills a couple of things with smites, destroys the characters that he needs to kill, and starts putting some hurt on the Talos.
Turn 5 for the Tyranids Saw. The smites go off, so he killed the Homunculus, he killed Urien Rakath, and that was pretty much it. He just moved and spread out as much as he could, so I can't tie, or to try and avoid me from tying up all his Carnifexes. So moving on to the next turn. Let's see what happens.
My turn 5, I'm looking at secondaries, so I go after as many characters as I can. I finish off one of the Carnifexes. I'm squeezing as many points as possible.
Okay, this is a fantastic turn for the Drukhari. Pretty much everything I did happened this turn. So the Talos moved up, did a long charge onto the Primus, and killed him in combat, tying up that Carnifex. Then I killed the last Carnifex that had 2 wounds here. And then I shot and killed the Neurthrope because he failed all his invul saves. And I killed another Carnifex that was right here as well. Giving me kill more as we move in to turn 6, which will be the last turn. We've got the Gene Stealers to come in. So let's see if I did zone actually this time. Hooray! So let's see what they do.
So on turn 6, he tries to jump out with his Gene Stealers once again and fails a charge, and then at the end of turn 6, essentially I focus everything I can on the Gene Stealers to try and max out those points.
Okay, so we have our turn 6 recap in total. So 6, the Smites moved up and killed the Talos, like completely wiped him out. I didn't pass any feel no pains there whatsoever. And then he tried to shoot at the plane and one of the Ravagers. The Gene Stealers came out on this board edge, tried to charge, failed at charge against the Ravagers. So in my turn, I essentially moved back, fired everything I could into the Gene Stealers. They failed their morale, wiped out. They're gone, giving my last Reaper point and kill one as well. So we'll count it up, guys. We'll come back for the post-game report. So that was a fun one, actually, because it was teetering at like turn 3, when it was, especially when the Talos and the Carnifexes were all here. And if they would have died, it would have been like game right there. Yeah, it would have been pretty much game, because that one turn where the Carnifexes couldn't shoot was a big deal. Big, yeah. Okay, so we'll come back. Stay tuned for the after action report. And that's game. Wow, that was close until around turn 4, and then it just completely flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when there was a huge line of Carnifexes, and you focused on one unit of Talos, and they just soaked up everything.
Yeah, like turn 1 and turn 2 were pure you, but I wasn't really dying.
Yeah.
So I always had that, hey, if you get your shit together, you can bounce back.
Right, 100%.
And I did that in my turn 3. I got some kills. Mm-hmm. And then on my turn 4, I got greedy with trying to kill the Taloses, and I only killed 1, and 1 left with 1 wound. But 2 was more than enough to just put them all in combat, gave you a whole free turn.
Well, you know, the other thing would have been just charging in like you underestimated what they do in combat.
Yeah.
And
if
they
I put
killed
2
the
in,
whole
maybe.
Carnifex
Yeah.
in, you know, so that happens right then and there.
But that was like a panic charge.
It was
Yeah.
like because you panicked and you kind of didn't think it through, and then I was able to capitalize on that. And then they died eventually, but by that point it was too late.
Yeah, because I needed that 2 extra turns to get the 3 marked for death
recon
points.
and marked for death. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you'd marked all my Ravagers.
Exactly.
And you didn't
yeah.
really shoot at them at
And
all.
they're hitting on 4s, wounding on 5s against my Carnifexes. I'm hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, right? Like it just, you couldn't really run from me because it's the hammer and anvil. So I would have had 2 free turns. It's
Yeah, and I think that one turn just kind of changed the whole dynamic of the game.
Yeah.
But it was a really fun, intense game. Kind of a couple of mistakes on both sides, but you can see that the score was 27-18, so it was a 9-point turn. There was a few things that could have made up those 9 points here and there.
Yeah.
So, leave a comment down below. Chris here is going with this list. Let us know what you think. I actually was surprised at how shooty those Carnifexes are.
They had 2 turns where they whiffed, and then the 1 turn that was good, and then my fault. Sorry, Carnifexes, putting them all in combat like that. They probably got mad at me.
Yeah.
And they might have, that would have been my second good turn, right?
Yeah,
so.
because it's a dice game, so eventually it kind of comes around as well.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, well, thanks a lot for tuning in. Of course, a huge shout out to the patrons of the channel. You guys are awesome. If you'd like to become a community member and become a denizen, check the link down below for some exclusive tactical content and other cool stuff as well. It's a global community growing over 100 people around the world that all interact and are part of a global Drukhari initiative. Well, we play orcs and stuff too, so it's really fun. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Stay tuned for the battle report next week, and I'm Skari, your grateful host, and this is
Chris. I will
signing
be
up.
changing my name to XR.
XR. Okay,
So
there you
there's
go.
not 5 of us.
Yeah. And you're actually you play WoW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're up there, aren't you?
I'm 60th right now in the American servers.
Woo! 60th WoW player in the American servers. That's no
Really
joke.
helps for Warhammer.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Skari out.